Hello there, Talkin fight fans and boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining us once again for another episode of the Friday Night Panel featuring Mike and Christian and Derek, who's in the ether joining us somewhere.
He's with us in spirit, Graham. He's with us in spirit.
Absolutely. Kind of like what I meant. So we've got a big weekend in terms of a couple of special bouts that I'm sure you guys will talk about. One of the interesting things that I was reading, I read an interesting article about Josh Taylor just before we get going. And just simply because they were going, where does Josh Taylor go next? And one of the big arguments actually came from our English friends who said, well, he should fight, our guy, over here in England. Then there was the argument that, he should potentially move up a level, But it was pretty funny to hear the English guys going off that he should be fighting Jack Catterall, but no, moving up and fighting Terence Crawford seemed to be the biggest kick. But anyway, if he does fight Jack Catterall, then the recommendation was that Josh should go after Teofimo Lopez. Anyway, it was a very interesting article, and it kind of commented on both sides of the fence in terms of here's a weird kind of nationalistic pride versus the global spectrum of competition that's out there these days. I'm sure in terms of the fights, the big ones that we're looking forward to, Devin Haney, we featured him on My Court 4, didn't we?
Yep.
And I think we favor him over Jorge Linares. I'm not sure.
Oh, definitely we favor that.
But
we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah.
The other one is the nice bantamweight title that's being up for grabs. Nordino Bali versus Nonito Donaire. So that should be a good fight too. Two separate cards though. Yep. We're going to start this evening off though, while we wait for our special guest to arrive with a bit of history, courtesy of Christian. What do you got for us?
I'm taking a bit of a poke at Big Mikey here today because I know how he likes the standing 8 count. So today, we're talking about I know it's a bit of a poke at Mike. Yeah, we've talked a few times about things like the standing 8 count and other such rule changes that have come about over the years. But you may not know how that came about. What was the actual incident that brought about the reason that we have the standing 8 count? And other things like some of our older viewers, not to point fingers anywhere here, are going to remember a time when professional boxing matches and title bouts would go 15 rounds. In fact, at one point in time, boxing matches had no limit at all. And, viewers of this segment will know that because we've covered, bouts that have gone 50 rounds in the past. But today, championship boxing matches are only allowed to go as far as a dozen rounds. So why did they stop 15-round matches? 15-round boxing matches ended due to the death of South Korean boxer Kim Dukku in the 14th round of his WBA title fight against Ray Mancini in 1982. Kim Dukku's death prompted the WBC to limit its championship fights to a maximum of 12 rounds, a move that was then followed by the WBA and the IBF in 1987. So we're going to take a quick look at how this unfortunate event shaped the world of boxing as we know it today. So this story is a bit graphic in spots, guys. So anyone who's not down for listening to that, tune out and come back and see us in about 5 minutes, okay? You've been warned. Okay? Just, So let's talk about the lead up to this fight. On May 8th, 1982, Ray Mancini beat Arturo Freitas to win the WBA lightweight championship. Ray Mancini then defended his belt with a 6th-round knockout over Ernesto España for his second title defense. Ray Mancini was set to face the WBA's number 1 contender then, Kim Dukku. So Kim was a South Korean boxer who had turned professional in 1978. He compiled a record of 12-1-1 before challenging fellow South Korean Kwang Min Kim for the Orient and Pacific Boxing Federation, that's the OPBF lightweight title, on February 28th, 1982. So after 12 rounds, Kim Dukku won the OPBF title via unanimous decision, making him the WBA's number 1 contender. After fighting 4 more times after winning the OPBF title, before being matched up with Ray Mancini for a shot at the WBA lightweight title. So the bout was set to be held in an arena outside of Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, November 13th, 1982. Kim made news prior to the fight when he ominously stated, "Either he dies or I die." They're foreshadowing there. Journalist Royce Fair noticed during an interview that he was conducting with Kim Dukku prior to the fight that on the lampshade there was some writing in Korean in the hotel room, and after the interview he was told that it said "live or die." So Kim had a very straightforward fighting style. He was not overly athletic when he first started boxing, and even after years of training, he was not regarded as a particularly technical fighter. Despite his lack of technical skill, Kim became noticed for his ability to absorb punches and just take punishment in general, which Kim himself attributed to a hard life he had growing up. Now, this was noticed by Kim's training partners, such as welterweight boxer Yoon-gu Kim, who said that Kim Dukku was, quote, more strong-willed and ruthless than other opponents. So, Kim Dukku versus Ray Mancini. Let's talk about the fight itself here. So, against popular belief, Ray did expect right from the start a hard, grueling fight against Kim Dukku, something which remained true right up until the very end of the fight. The fight was a close one throughout, with both competitors willing to absorb a fair amount of punishment in order to dish out some of their own. And the result of the fight was several injuries, starting with Ray Mancini breaking his left hand in the third round. By the 11th round, both fighters had taken an extraordinary amount of damage, and this was clear if anyone who had the eyes to see from facial lacerations and bruising. The heavy toll they had taken prompted them to clinch several times, both bleeding and tired, which prompted Mancini later to say, "I knew him better than his own mother." At the start of the 14th round, Mancini came out quickly, first throwing a left hook followed by a straight right. Now, it was the straight right punch that knocked Kim Dukku back, landing him by the edge of the ring. Now, in an amazing feat of strength and perseverance, Kim Dukku managed to get up before the end of the 10 count. Now, to do this, he was using the ropes to lift himself. Commentator Ralph Wiley called it, quote, one of the greatest physical feats I had ever witnessed. Now, despite this, referee Richard Green knew that Kim was not able to continue and called the fight off 19 seconds into the 14th round. Ray Mancini, of course, emerges victorious, with Kim Dukku being carried out of the arena on a stretcher and then taken to nearby Desert Springs Hospital. At the hospital, a CT scan of Kim's brain revealed a subdermal hematoma, which is a life-threatening injury caused by tears in the bridging veins of the brain. About 100 cubic centimeters of blood had filled up within Kim's brain, and that would be about enough to fill 2 shot glasses. Now, despite the removal of the blood clot, I told you, if you were down for this, Mikey, I told you to check back in 5 minutes. Now, despite the removal of the blood clot after 2.5 hours of surgery, Dr. Lonnie Hammergren concluded that there was unfortunately no way to save Kim's life. Kim remained on life support for 4 days until after the fight so that his mother and his half-brother could see him before he died. With them, they did bring herbal medicine as well as acupuncturists in a final attempt to save his life, until Kim's mother finally allowed the life support to be turned off. Kim Dukku died on November 18th, 1982, aged just 23 years old, which is sad. So the aftermath of this fight here. The morning after Kim Dukku's death, Ray Mancini was interviewed by the New York Times. Now, in that interview, he said, "It was a terrific fight. I saved my title, but what am I, a hero? Who's to say it couldn't have been me? And yet, how can I say better him than me?" The death of Kim would plague Mancini for most of his life, commonly being referred to after that as the man who killed a man in the ring. The death of Kim was an infamous event, especially because it had been nationally televised by CBS. Now, because of this, CBS did not televise Mancini's next fight, as Kim's death had started the conversation on boxing regulation, as well as the conversation about abolition altogether of professional boxing. The Nevada State Athletic Commission, that's the NSAC, was the first organization to impose rule changes. Just a month after Kim's death, the NSAC introduced the standing 8 count. Now, as you guys will know, that allows a referee to call a knockdown if they see a fighter not defending themselves. The commission also imposed a 45-day suspension for fighters who lose via knockout. The World Boxing Council announced their limit for championship boxing matches to be dropped from 15 to 12 rounds, 3 months after Kim's death. And the sanctioning body for the Mancini-Kim fight, the World Boxing Association, however, did not follow suit until 1987. The IBF also limited fights to 12 rounds starting in 1987 as well. In addition to this, pre-fight checkups also became much more stringent for fighters. In the years following Kim's death, fighters were required then to submit to brain scans, electrocardiograms, as well as lung tests prior to fighting. So, at the end of the day, to sum it all up, 15 rounds of boxing ended due to the, of course, very unfortunate passing of Kim Dukku after being knocked out in the 14th round of a 15-round fight. The boxer's death, had received widespread attention due to it being nationally televised, which is what prompted all our sanctioning bodies to make those changes that we now think of as being commonplace in boxing today. But that is the unfortunate story of how we ended up with 12-round fights, standing 8 counts, and mandatory wait times between bouts after a knockout. And that's our history lesson for the day.
Well then, very interesting.
So keep that in mind, Mike, next time you're harping on the standing 8 count.
You know what? I wouldn't have to if people would just knock people out and that'd be it. Then we wouldn't have to worry. There'd be no worries. Well, after that wonderful history lesson, I guess we got to talk about the upcoming fights this weekend.
Before we do, though, why don't you just address that little Josh Taylor issue I brought up?
Let's bring Cedric in.
All right, cool. Let's bring our special guest, Cedric Benn.
Our special guest.
He may have an opinion on that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We hope he does. That's why he's here.
My video's not working. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Definitely. We can hear you, Cedric. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why my video is not working. It's like I'm clicking on the red thing and it keeps coming back. Not sure. I'm not sure what to do here. But I can tell you, as I said the other day, I'm all about safety first. So I am in favor of the standing 8 count, just to make sure that just to check on the fighter, look into his eyes, make sure he's okay, or as best as the referee can judge that the boxer's okay to continue. So that's my answer on that.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with it. I guess, yes, in safety terms, I guess it is good. I just, sometimes I think that the referee is not trained well enough to be able to call the fight, and sometimes sends the fighters back to damage. So that's usually my whole thing about it is, after being concussed and knocked down and getting sent back to fight another fighter after that standing 8 count, sometimes that does a lot more damage than it does good. That's my argument on it. But we're all entitled to our own opinions.
Yeah, we've been asking for months now, Mikey, and we're yet to find anyone who agrees with yours. We've been talking to boxers, we've been talking to trainers, we've been talking to referees and judges, and there's Mikey over here and everybody else over here, it seems.
Yo, man, hey, if people would just finish their fights, we wouldn't have this argument.
You're right.
That's it. Other than that, okay. Cedric, unfortunately your video's not working, but thank you for joining us.
I got you. I'm glad to be here.
You can be the voice of reason over the shoulders tonight. We want to touch on the fights coming up this weekend for sure. We got the Haney.
After we talk about the fights, though, I got a few questions for Cedric, though, based on his coaching career and some of the fighters that he's worked with. So we will get there as well. But yeah, start us off, Mike, with this weekend's cards.
This weekend's cards, we got the Haney and Linares card. Devin Haney, our boy, man, 25-0. Youngest promoter in the friggin' game today. Or sorry, was the youngest, owning a promotion company at 19. And he's fighting Linares, who's 47-5-0, and this is for the WBC World Light title. Honestly, I'm going with my boy, man. Haney's gonna win this hands down. No issues, man. This is gonna be an easy walk in the park for him, I believe.
I think
walk in the park.
Yeah.
All right, Cedric, what are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts, Cedric?
I think this is a good step up fight for Devin Haney. He's looked impressive against the competition that he's had. Of course, the number one complaint is that he hasn't stepped up in competition yet. So even though we know Linares, it might not be, his best days have been behind him. I think he's still, even though I wouldn't pick him to beat any of the champions, I still would pick him to beat most of the B level competition. So that's why I say this is a good step up fight for Devin Haney. With that being said, I'm picking him to win by unanimous decision, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as Mike is predicting. I think just the experience from Linares. Remember he did drop Lomachenko.
Yes, he did.
So he has the boxing IQ. He has the smarts. He's usually in shape. We've never seen him out of shape. So
that's true. That's true.
I think I still got Haney by decision, by unanimous, but I think Linares will give him a bit of trouble.
Mikey likes his undefeated boxers. I'll tell you that right now. Mikey tends to favor those undefeated guys.
I love him, man. I love him. I can't help it, man. I love jumping on these guys' coattails and just riding with them on this journey, this undefeated journey that they have. Yes, I would love to see my man Devin Haney stay undefeated. Yes, you know what is going to be. It definitely is going to be a test for him for sure. But I do believe Linares, his best days are behind him. I do think it will go the distance. I do think it will go the distance. I don't think Devin Haney's going to just, knock him out or anything like that. But I do think he's going to easily come through with the points victory here.
Again, I don't know about easily because you're looking at, Linares is sitting on a record of 47-5 with 29 knockouts. He's no slouch. Now, I know, again, you like your undefeated guys, but this guy has got the experience and he's got he's got technique as well. And I think if he's smart, he's going to be able to not outweight, but he's going to be able to pick and choose his moments because I think Haney's going to come in and try to end this quickly. He's not going to want to try to leave this thing in the judge's hands with a more experienced fighter.
Definitely not.
All right. Unless that more experienced fighter can give him enough trouble that he can't stop him.
Exactly.
All right. I think that might have been his problem with Gamboa. Everyone was expecting him to just, stop Gamboa. But again, even though Gamboa was old, he was 38 years old when they fought. Just that old veteran experience of knowing how to even just to survive will help Gamboa get past that fight. So again, good step up for Haney to see if he can stop. I agree. I think he's going for the stoppage. If he's going to get it.
And I think, especially with these undefeated fighters, I think a lot of times they go for these stoppages, and that's when they make stupid mistakes because they don't want to leave this in the hands of the judges, especially against someone like Linares, who is a more experienced fighter. He's going to try to take that quick, and that's where you get sloppy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Haney, I believe, we haven't seen him in the ring in a while. And, he's got his team that's pushing him the right way. He's making the right moves. This is the right fight. Yes, it's going to be a test. But, again, I believe that Devin Haney's going to make easy work of this. And that's just my opinion. Yes, it is a step-up fight for him. But I think Devin Haney, even though he hasn't fought that competition that everybody says that, he hasn't fought these people yet, I yet to see. I believe we haven't even seen the true Devin Haney yet because of the competition. Put better competition in front of him, and I think that we're going to see a different. I think we're going to see new things from him.
Well, Haney's also got less ring rust on him by about the better part of a year as well. So,
and that's another big thing that comes into factor.
I think if it goes the difference, though, I don't think Haney's going to take it if it goes the distance.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Well, we have basketball boxing.
Carl over at last Haney.
My man Carl is picking Haney in the
round
11
11 is what he's saying.
What's up, Carl?
Carl's saying Haney round 11.
Carl's just agreeing with me on what he's doing.
I sent Carl a link. I wanted him to join us. I wanted to hear his opinion on my Josh Taylor scenario.
Give me one. I'll be right back in 1 second, guys. I'm trying to get Randy on here. I'll be right back.
7:20. I have to leave the meeting, unfortunately. Right. So someone else will have to take over this responsible job of moderating.
I think I've got you covered there, buddy.
Are you good?
Yeah, have yourselves a good show. I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later, Graham. See, I think Carl's agreeing. Carl's ultimately agreeing with me here at the end of the day because he's saying that it's going to be a stoppage, Haney, and I think if it goes all the way through the 12th, no dice.
Yeah, I don't honestly. Who knows? Who knows what the outcome's going to be until we see it? I believe Haney's going to win with the stoppage. I don't. If it goes a distance, I still believe Haney will take it on points anyway. And that's just my feeling on it. On that card though, which is another good fight, is the Chantal Cameron and Melissa Hernandez for Cameron's WBC female super light title, which is on.
I was about to mention that's the other belt change in hands possibly on this particular card. Yeah.
Yes, that could be that's going to make up for an interesting fight, man. I'm kind of excited to see this. I know I've watched Chantelle Cameron in the past. She never doesn't come through with an exciting bout. You know, she's what 13-0 with 7 knockouts. And Hernandez,
another one of your undefeated fighters. Okay, yeah.
You know it. Chantelle Cameron. I've profiled her before. Another undefeated. We got some good cards on good fights on this card, man. We got a couple.
Melissa Hernandez, though. I mean, again, you've got an experienced fighter there, but I don't know that she's going to have enough gas in the tank to take Cameron on this one. I think I'm going to have to side with you on the undefeated fighter this time.
For sure, yeah. Honestly, I believe the same way. I just don't
significant age gap too. Significant age gap. Hernandez coming at 41 years old versus Cameron's 30. So.
Yeah, and it's scheduled for 10 2-minute rounds. Like, you know,
Hernandez also hasn't stepped in the ring since April of 2019 was the last time Hernandez stepped in the ring as well.
Yeah, and
so
Cameron
amount of
ring
rust
in the ring in October of 2020 was the last time Chantal Cameron stepped in. And
that was a little over 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, about 6 months ago. So you know
that
what?
Was Adriana Dos Santos. Yeah.
I'm thinking that that's gonna be a great fight on that card for sure. Definitely a great undercard. You know, there's a couple of on that same card. We got a couple of undefeated young people in the game. On that exact same card, we have I believe the name is Ray Diaz, or no, sorry, Ramallah Ali is 2-0 fighting Michaela Nibel, who's 4-8. There's another young and undefeated. Also on the same card, we have Khalil Ko making their debut against Nathaniel Tad, who's 2-4, and that's going to be for a light heavy. And then we have a super welterweight battle: Jonathan Burrs versus Amari Jones. Our Amari Jones is fighting, which is excellent. I can't wait to see this. We get behind Amari Jones. We've profiled him on the show many times.
Amari Jones. This is only his second professional bout, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And he is signed to Devin Haney Promotions, and we've interviewed him on Knuckle Up, and we've had him on, many times. So, guys, I can't wait to see this fight, man. I'm excited to see Amari get back in the ring and do what he does best, and that's just finish people, man. He's got to.
All right. So what rounds that one finishing in then?
Amari, I think Amari's going to take it in the first 2. To be honest. I see it going no more than 2. After his last performance was incredible. He overwhelmed his last opponent. He didn't even get a chance to. His opponent never even got a chance to break a sweat, man. He just was in and on him, and it was over very, very fast. So we got a lot of young guys on this card, a lot of young fighters to watch who are up and coming in the game, and then yes, we have these female fighters that are going to be great.
Well, yeah, this is nice because we're seeing a mixed card here where we do have both male and female belts changing hands here. Definitely.
Then we have the other card on Showtime. We got the Donaire and Ubali, which is another event that's happening tomorrow night.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one because you've got Orthodox versus Southpaw on that one. Ubali being Southpaw and Donaire being an Orthodox fighter, but you've also got a fair size height difference here with from 5'7" down to 5'3".
That's a big difference.
With fairly similar, with only about a 4 centimeter reach difference, but you do have a substantial height difference between the two, and about a 4-year age gap as well.
Yes.
Southpaw
We got-
or
we got-
Orthodox, Mikey?
I'm gonna. You know what? I love my hungry and undefeateds, man. I love my undefeateds. So I'm gonna go Bali, 17-0. Let's keep the record going, man. Let's make it 18. I think
that's going to be a tough one for him.
it's going to be. It's definitely a test. It's definitely a test. We got the WBC World Bantam title up for grabs. So it's going to definitely be an epic battle. It's totally.
I love these bantam guys. I love these bantams because they throw
too.
three punches
Cedric,
for every heavyweight.
Yeah.
Oh, we got him
What's
on here.
going on, Cedric? How you doing?
Hello, I am good. I'm good. You can see me now?
Yeah, we can see you now.
Good.
There you are.
I got the weigh-ins in the background here, if you can see.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So we were just talking about the rest of the fights on that card. The females, Chantelle Cameron.
Chantal Cameron, and she's fighting.
Hernandez.
Hernandez.
That's for the title, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Hernandez. She's I like her. She's wait.
Melissa
who's the
Hernandez.
champion in that one then? Melissa Hernandez, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm picking Hernandez in that one.
You taking Hernandez over Cameron?
I am. I'm not, because I haven't seen all their fights, but just from ones that I've seen a little bit more of Hernandez, so that's why I'm going to have a little bit more on her side.
See, we were talking. What we were saying just before you got back on, though, is that Hernandez is 11 years older and hasn't stepped in the ring since April of 2019.
Whoa.
Yeah. Where Cameron has only been out of the ring.
So there might be a couple of factors you might want to take into consideration.
Yes. Let me. Good thing I didn't put money on that one right away. Yes.
Well, you've still got time. The fight's tomorrow to lay down some dollars on that one. But yeah, that's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for Hernandez, if you ask me.
Definitely. So I'm going to go with her opponent on that one.
Yeah, Cameron said, she's undefeated, man, and she's no slouch. I've watched this girl, trade leather many, many times, and she never ceases to amaze me. She's got great defense, and she hits really hard, man. And honestly, I can't wait to see her fight. I watched her back in October, and she was fantastic in the ring, and I think she's going to do the exact same thing she did last October. She's going to come through and make quick work of this, make it look good.
So just as you were signing back on there, Cedric, we were discussing the WBC World Bantam title coming up. Nonito Donaire against Nordine Ubali.
Nordine Ubali, he's the up and comer now. The question is again, which Nonito Donaire are we going to see? I thought he was.
His last fight against I can never say the name right. Naoya Inoue out of Japan was a bit of an outlier, if you ask me. Like that was not what you normally see from this guy with a record of 40-6.
Mm-hmm.
No, but Naoya Inoue is the monster, man. He's no joke, that kid, right? Like,
he's fighting in a couple of weeks' time as well. He's coming up. June 12th is his next bout.
He's the big thing out of Japan, man. He's the big thing out of Japan. Everybody's on his, they're on his nut. They love him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? For a small guy, he packs a serious punch. So
he does.
Oh yeah, because on June 19th he'll be fighting for the WBA Super Bantamweight as well as the IBF World Bantam title. But that's not till the 19th of June.
And who's his opponent? Who's he gonna be fighting for that?
That one there, he will be fighting Michael Dasmarinas.
Okay.
Well, that'll be excellent. I can't wait to see that bout. I'm always
almost a month away.
What's that, Mike?
I'm gonna stick with my man Naoya Inoue though for that one.
Yeah.
I think he'll come through with a victory there.
Okay, but back it up to this fight. Back it up to this fight. That's not till June 19th. Nonito.
Honestly,
which Nonito are we going to see?
I'm going to go with Nonito on this one, just because even though he did lose against Inoue, he looked more impressive than I thought he would, and I don't think I can't pronounce this guy's name properly. Ubali, is it?
Ubali.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he has the experience to. I know he looks good, but I don't know if his experience will help him get past Donaire. So I'm gonna go with and I'm assuming Donaire's the underdog in this fight. I'm not sure what the odds are, but I'm assuming he's the underdog. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Donaire with the upset on this one.
Well, yeah, ranking wise, we're looking at Ubali's sitting at ranked third right now with Donaire only at fifth, so he's not far behind him.
Mm-hmm.
No,
We were saying this is also a
Ubali has proven
Southpaw
himself
versus
as a-
Orthodox matchup as well, so those are always fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Nonito Donaire though has solidified his Hall of Fame credentials. So
Definitely. So I mean, I don't think career wise, he's made some good money. So I'm assuming he's just in it because he actually wants to keep doing it. And if you're still training hard and taking your training seriously, I think he could pull it off, man. I think he could pull it off.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about training.
Yep.
Seeing as that seems to be your that is your area of expertise. For those of you guys who don't know Cedric here who's on the show, you've been in the coaching world for some time now, as well as training. Now you've spent some time. You were chief assistant coach to Adam Turpish, who placed fifth in the 2007 World Championships and was the only Canadian to fight in the 2008 Olympics.
Yes.
As well as Mary Spencer for her second and third World Championships, among others. So we're coming into, and I don't know if these guys have mentioned this to you, Olympics is kind of my expertise, not expertise, but it's where I spend most of my time chatting about boxing on this channel here is on the amateur side and with Olympics. So as we're getting closer right now to to the actual Olympics themselves, and we've got the European qualifiers starting on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
What are we talking training wise for these elite athletes? Where are they shifting training now as we get this close to the games? We're less than 2 months out.
I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure if Canada is actually sending. Is Canada even sending anybody to these Olympics? I haven't heard any names that are going.
We're waiting on some names now based on the boxing task force rankings. They haven't put everything out. They won't be releasing their final statement on who's coming from what country until June. Some countries we do have the roster. We don't have the full lineup for Canada as of yet.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting because some countries are just going by they've canceled some of their qualifying tournaments and just going by the ranking of who's in the top 15 and stuff like that.
Well, they've done that for all of the Americas.
Yes. Okay.
Because that tournament was originally supposed to be held in Argentina a couple of weeks ago, and just due to the COVID situation down there, it had to be canceled with less than 4 weeks to go, so they were unable to reschedule that one.
Okay.
But let's just say we do have a boxer, a fictitious boxer, name a boxer, doesn't matter. Let's say they let Mandy Bujold in, okay? Because we know she's having a bit of a hard time due to the rules around when she was pregnant and postpartum, so they haven't offered her a slot. But let's just say Mandy's going, and they've tapped Cedric here to help her out. We're coming up 2 months to the games. How are you changing a boxer's training regimen as we get closer to an international tournament?
Well, specifically with Mandy, she probably has the most experience out of any amateur to date now, so I wouldn't have to change too much with her. As long as she's in shape, she has a good chance of beating anybody in the world. I think at what happened at the last Olympics, I think it was a bit of food poisoning or something like that the day before, or some night before.
She was on an IV drip 4 hours before her bout.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and that's why she ended up settling 5th place in that day in Rio.
Mm-hmm. And she still, I mean, for having an IV right before you compete, she still put up a good fight for what she did. So I'm still proud of her for what she did. But just in general, going back to your question, as far as training, of course, it's tough now with everything being shut down. Canada has allowed the government, specifically the top athletes, to keep training at gyms. So those few athletes have had access to gyms, and maybe not the best sparring, but whatever they could. At the performance center that they have in Quebec. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't been there yet, so I'm not sure what goes on there. But I'm sure they're training hard and getting ready. Whatever box.
Actually, they were sent home. They were sent home from Montreal actually a few weeks back.
So
a lot of people have been training at their home gyms because I know we ran a story a little while ago on one of the guys who's out of Kentucky, Nova Scotia, and he's back training in Nova Scotia at the moment because they've shut down the Montreal camp.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting who looks good at these, at the tournament because of these circumstances. I was just telling Mike and Carl when I was on the last Bell Boxing show the other day my one of my top boxers, Kioma Ali, and his sister Marie Ali. Kioma is he's just under the age limit to qualify for these Olympics, but I'm pretty confident him and his sister will be at the next one if he doesn't decide to turn pro first, depending on the old lockdown situation. We don't know when competitions are going to come back. So as far as this year, I can't really comment too much about this year's competitors going, but I know for the next one, Kioma and his sister Maria are most likely have a very good chance of being there.
Okay, but listen, coming up to one of these internationals, are you ramping up their training, or are you dialing back their training to kind of maintain at that point?
Well, depending, leading up to the weeks up to a tournament, we're going hard. It'll only be in the last week or two where we would kind of taper off. Like the miles of running would definitely be cut down. The sparring is definitely the last week. There's no sparring the last week of training. If anything, it's just technical stuff. Even on pads, it's not a whole hour session. It's more technical stuff. Because at this point, like a week and a half before competition, you're not going to get in any better shape. You're just trying to maintain. What you have now. So I'm not sure if there's an actual date, a set date for when the Olympics is going to start for boxing specifically. Boxing is usually at the beginning of the Olympics.
It is. It starts July 24th is the beginning of the boxing tournament. Opening ceremonies are the 23rd, so it gets started right away.
Exactly. So right now, then weeks ahead of time, you're training hard right now, at least 2-3 times a week. Even a day. Sorry.
I was going to say that sounds a bit scaled back. Yeah.
We're good. Take the day off.
Right.
But breaking it up specifically, like when Adam and Mary were getting ready for their world championships, they'd be up at 5 a.m, running 5 miles, come back, rest for a bit, spar as many rounds as Charlie wanted them to, rest for a bit, then go home, eat properly, rest, come back to the gym for some pads, just technical moving around the ring, rest again. And then your third thing for the night would just be like either strength and conditioning or just mobility, stretching and stuff like that, just to get ready for the next day. More recovery stuff, getting ready for the next day's training. And that would be 6 days a week, right up until probably 2 weeks before competition. Actually, no, 3 weeks before competition, we break it down to like only two hard training sessions per day. The third one would just be strictly stretching and mobility to rest up for the next day. That would be like the third week prior to the competition. And the last 2 weeks, again, no sparring, no long runs, just general stuff in the gym, a couple rounds of pads, a couple rounds on the bag, just to maintain what you have.
All right. So once they move into the tournament there, so say you've coached at large tournaments like that. Once we're actually into the actual tournament itself and we're moving forward, how are you keeping your boxers? How are you maintaining your fighters between bouts day to day?
Well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I was just the assistant coach of helping them get to those tournaments. The biggest tournament that I coached at was the national. You
have been in this game long enough that I think you've earned an opinion on this one, Cedric. You're also at the Pan Am Games, one of only 3 people to hold the national technical official in Pan Am.
And you can't forget two-time VP of competition.
I think at this point you may have earned an opinion.
Trust me, your opinion is allowed, Cedric. Speak it away.
Because I've been given mine, and mine's not worth a damn.
I respect it all. Okay, so back to your question.
During the tournament, what are we doing?
Well, we'd have to know when they're fighting, because not everyone fights on the same day. You might fight 2 days in a row. You might fight like if the top competition goes from Tuesday to Sunday. You might fight, depending how many people are in your weight class, you might fight Tuesday and Friday. You might fight Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sunday. So we'd have to find out. And if I have multiple boxers, those schedules are all over the place. So finding out your schedule first, and then the day that you're fighting, first of all, make sure everyone's on weight before you get there. Right. If you see your competition killing themselves in the sauna before the first day of the tournament, they haven't been doing what they're supposed to do. So we try to make sure everyone is on weight before we actually go. That way, when we get there, all we're worried about is maintaining in each day. not killing yourself in the sauna the day before your, one of the most important competitions of the year. And then again, sometimes there's usually two sessions. There's a afternoon session from 12 to about 4, and then there'll be an evening session from 7 till about 10. So all these factors, you got to sit down, know the schedule. So say you're fighting on the Tuesday, you're not fighting until Friday. You're still going to be training in between then. Usually Team Ontario will have a daily training session. Obviously it's encouraged to attend that just for the team atmosphere, that everyone's working together. But obviously you have your own personal time with your coach on working on specific things for your next opponent. So again, it's not one specific thing. So know your schedule, know your boxer's schedule, and you have to figure out the training schedule for each day, for each boxer. It's not just everyone's doing this at the same time. You can have, so there's sometimes I'd have one of my boxers warming up for a competition that afternoon while the two other ones are just like shadow boxing because they're competing that evening.
So we're not talking heavy conditioning or long runs or anything like that during a tournament.
No, definitely not. If anything, like there's some boxers like Mary liked to go for a 15-minute run before, like when she got to the venue before her competition. So everyone's different. Everyone's different. Like at when you've been boxing for a while, especially at the high level for a while, how your body feels. What gets you warmed up. Some boxers just like to relax right up until a couple fights before theirs. I don't encourage that. I encourage to get you should have a little bit of a sweat going on before you get in there. So that's knowing your boxer.
Always. I feel you should always have a bit of warmth in you before you get in that ring, man. It keeps you loose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy though. Go for a 15-minute run beforehand. That's interesting. I haven't heard too many people do that. There's always that's confidence, man.
In your conditioning.
Right? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
well, 3 world championships, so she must have been doing something right.
Well, exactly. And I think it comes from because, like, for those training up for that, probably 6 days a week, it was the average of 5 miles a day. So a little 15-minute run was for some people, if you're not used to running miles, doing a 15-minute run might feel like forever and it take a lot of your energy out.
mm-hmm.
But when you're used to running, getting up at 5 a.m., running 5 miles, and then coming back to spar 6 rounds after that, you feel confident.
I might be able to do the 5 miles, and that's about it. After that, I'm not sparring anyone at that point. But I've also read some articles about you putting people through some training. Back a few years ago, the Windsor Star, I think, did an article where you put one of the reporters through training. And
oh yes.
I read that this morning. Once I heard that you were coming on, and she had, of course, nothing but great things to say about you. But she also did say that she couldn't use her arms for several days afterwards. So,
well, that's a little bit of extra arm punching. I always remind people, like, for the first time, everyone's always gung ho and wants to put a hole through the bag, and so some people don't always have the best technique. So I always tell people, if your shoulders are burning you after, it's because you're throwing more arms than using the rest of your body, right? Because if you
Mike, I'm going to send you this article. Send you this article, Mike. It's brilliant because he's got this poor reporter doing planks and then coming off the plank and throwing and then resting on and throwing at the pads. He's sitting in front of her and she's trying to negotiate with him how many she'll do. She goes, I'll give you 10. He goes, you're doing 40. She'll do 10. He made her do 50.
So planks during the 30-second rest, right?
Plank punches. So in that plank position, you're extending your arms one at a time.
Yeah.
With him sitting in front of her with the pads, going, all right,
man. Man.
She tried to negotiate. I'll give you 10. He goes, no, you're going to give me 40. And then she said, I lost count. He made me do 50.
It burns, man. It burns, baby. That burns.
I tell people we hate the process, but we want the results, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
If you don't hate the process, you're not doing it right.
There you go.
That's it, man. Oh my gosh. So after after the Olympics, after all that, what's happening to these boxers, man? How can they fall off? What's going on with these Olympians? Especially the Canadians. Like what's
where do you want me to start? We don't. I don't know. Just in general, I don't think at the pro level, or really even at the amateur level, well, amateur is different, but at the pro level, I think Canada has to work a little bit more together to help the boxing industry grow in Canada, because it seems like, I mean, the main spots are in Montreal, and I know there's a few spots out west that have a good pro scene too, but it's only in that area. If we need, for the future, as far as guys falling off, some of the best guys usually just sign with an American company, or if they sign with one of the Montreal companies and just stay in Quebec and not really get, grow out of that. Like, Jean Pascal is what is he? I think Mike, you told me he's ranked number 78 in the world.
72nd pound for pound.
72nd pound for pound. I mean, we need to get more Canadians on that list, first of all.
We do, because I believe once you go below him, the next one doesn't show up for another 80, maybe 80 spots.
Exactly. So I don't know. Maybe it needs to be a little bit more of promotion in Canada as far as boxing, because again, in Quebec, they only promote in Quebec. You don't really, you have to go look for the fights to search them on. They don't even have them televised outside of Quebec. So it's more the exposure. So when you ask how come these boxers after the Olympics fall off, unless they plan on moving to the States, if they're going to stay in Canada, there's not really a big pro scene in Ontario. Again, there's a few pro companies in Ontario that are making some noise now. I don't want to say that they're not big yet, that they are growing. They are growing. Right. But I don't know. It's just not as much incentive. The Olympics, it seems like, is the highest level, that you'll get praise for in Canada. There's not too many people that know any of the pro boxers, but they'll know the Olympians, right, from being in the news.
Well, you fought amateur yourself, didn't you, Cedric?
I did. No, I didn't fight at the highest level. I only had 30 fights. So I was 24-6. I never won nationals. The closest I got was a bronze at provincials. That was one of my last fights in 2005. But yeah, I had a few fights.
Okay, so what would you like to see change? What could have happened back then that would have helped you to take you to that next level? Because that's not a bad record. 24-6. That's nothing. That's nothing to turn your nose up at here. So what was lacking in our system here in Canada that prevented you from being able to take that next step as an athlete?
Well, my situation was different. I was just old. I only started when I was 18, 19. I had other family members that boxed, so I kind of already knew what I was doing. But I boxed from 19 to 26. And so my situation is different. I was just old. And I said I want to work a little bit and come back. And you know how it is. Life gets in the way. And start making money and living on your own, and realize you have to pay these bills every month. Are you serious?
Well, that sounds like opportunity development wasn't there. You had to get a job because there was no opportunity to make money as a boxer.
There you go.
So so the question is, how do we create those opportunities for young athletes now?
Well, the success that I see other countries having is paying their amateur athletes for not just in Canada, they'll pay the athletes, but you got to win like the highest level, like
you have to be at the top
championships, and they're only going to pay for half of your stuff then,
right?
And I think we have to start at the junior level. When these kids get like 14, 15, that's when we have to start investing in them, whether it's money for to send them away for sparring, or to fly other sparring partners in to help out. I think finances is the number one thing that they need to help with.
Definitely. Yeah, I know there is not a lot of sparring competition here. There's not a lot of. That's a problem. So as a gym that has, a little bit of funds and, a fighter that's not being sponsored or anything, it's difficult to, pack up a vehicle and say, hey, we got to go away for the weekend. You need to, either, tell your job you're going to be gone and hope that it's there when you get back, or,
exactly.
B, hey, I got to tell the school, hey, I can't do my testing this week. I know my final exam's coming up because I have to go and spar. So yeah, there is a big problem with competition here in sparring in the amateur level to prep these guys.
With that being said, we still made it happen in this small little area with Windsor, with as far as Adam and Mary qualifying for the international competitions. just within the gym, like Charlie Stewart, when my mentor, he really was creative in finding ways, and he really opened my eyes. I always thought that, you know, you have to spar against better guys and girls too for the females. Let me get that, but just better people in general to help you, which is you do have to spar against better people. But there's also many things that you can learn from sparring people that aren't at our near level. Like, for example, like, you know, having your sparring partner, your sparring partner could use both hands and you can only use one hand. Or your jab or something like that, or even just strictly work on your defense. If it's a novice boxer, I've had novice boxers spar with, you know, with the national champions, with them just going on defense, or the novice boxer, and I'll tell them, like, you know, they can go as hard as they want. And the more experienced boxer, whether it's Adam or Amari or one of the other national champions, they understand. They understand how to move around and have good enough defense not to get hit. And if they do get hit, they understand it's not, you know, they don't take it personal. This is all right. This is all part of the learning process, right? Sparring is for learning, not for winning and losing.
That's it, man. Sparring is learning. Sparring is just another part of the lesson.
The other thing to add on to that, I mentioned the sparring, but just in general, just getting more competitions and better competitions. There's just, you know, in this, you know, we're lucky in Windsor that I'm just 20 minutes from the border. So we're right from Detroit. So, you know, I have a good relationship with the Kronk gym and a lot of the boxing gyms over there. Cleveland, Ohio is not too far away also. So we're kind of lucky in that sense. It's easier for us to cross the border. But as far as competitions, we definitely need more competitions. I said before, we need to help the kids out more. We need to send these kids more to higher level competitions, because what's happening now is that, you know, we train them, and then by the time Boxing Canada just waits until they get to the senior level and just sends them off to the wolves and said, yeah, go see how you do against the best in the world when it's their first time. Meanwhile, these other countries have been competing against each other, against each other since they were juniors, since they were 14, 15. But for Canada, when they get to like 19, 20, it's their first time being at that level. Right. And so that's you know, it's one of the reasons why we haven't had a medal since 96, is it?
Yeah, I believe it is that far back.
So finances for sparring and more competitions.
That's we're talking about Windsor. Did you want to plug the gym there while we're talking Windsor?
The Windsor Amateur Boxing Club. We've had a national champion in the gym every single year since 1993. I started coaching in 2006, became an assistant in 2006, and I took over in 2012. Everybody thought the gym was going to go down when Charlie was gone, and I was able to keep up the legacy. Every time I mention the record, I always feel like I'm putting extra pressure on myself.
I was wondering if it's still held, because again, knowing that you were coming on today, I had to look for some past interviews and that you've done. And one of the things you had mentioned was that you'd had a champ since '93, but that interview that I saw was 2 or 3 years old at that point. So I was actually, does that still hold? I wasn't going to bring it up just in case it didn't. I didn't want to put you on the spot like that. So I'm glad to hear it, though.
Yeah, it still holds.
The only thing that stopped it was COVID.
That's it.
Oh, everybody gets 2020 gets an asterisk next to it for everything. So
definitely.
So yeah. Other than that, the things that matter for international competition, just the finances for sparring, making weight is something that seems so easy, but is really underrated with how hard it is.
It really is hard
at the highest level, and I'm very surprised how not serious some boxers take it. It really has a big deal effect on your performance, you know. So that's I think that's a big problem with the boxers.
I think some people don't realize how weak these guys are at weigh-in sometimes, how dehydrated. Yeah,
and something that, you know, one of the unfortunate parts of our sport. Obviously, we all know we can get seriously injured. In the past couple of years, there's been a few boxers that have actually passed away. Most recently, at the last World Championships,
the youth World Championships, Rashid Al Swaisat.
Yeah.
18-year-old Jordanian boxer. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. A lot of the cases, though, I believe, obviously, I don't know them personally, but I believe has to do with how much these guys are trying to cut weight and not doing it the right way. And when your brain is missing that extra liquid and you're getting punched in it, that that's
That dehydration's a killer, man.
Well, it's malnutrition along with dehydration at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Cutting weight is a science, and it's something that your trainer has to really take serious. Not everything works the same for everybody. You got to find out the science for your body. You got to find out what works, and then you got to use those techniques for you to cut weight. If you don't, it's very, very dangerous. Cutting mass amounts of weight in a short period of time is really bad for your health. And honestly, I encourage people to.
It's hard on the heart.
It's very, very hard on the heart, man. And
especially all the time in the sauna.
I'm a big guy now, but I used to have to cut weight mad. And I've learned the science of my body. I used to compete at 155 pounds. I'm sitting at 300.
I have seen you at 165. I've seen you at 165, Mike.
Yeah, that's walk around weight, but weigh-in's 155.6, brother.
There you go.
But yes.
Well, I think you made a great point earlier, Cedric, about cutting weight early and not getting to the point where you're showing up at the tournament trying to cut weight in the days prior to weigh-in.
Exactly. Make weight before you leave. Even such things like, if you leave for the tournament on a weekend for nationals, even the nationals would start on a Tuesday, but because of your draw, you're not competing until maybe Thursday or Friday. Some guys will just say, okay, well, I don't have to worry about making weight until, I still have time to eat whatever I want or do whatever I want. But no, man, it's not just physically, you want to be mentally in that mind state of competition every day, not just the day of. You want to have that mentality in the training camp, leading into weeks up to it. And that's the other thing too. When we talked about tapering off, you were asking about, do we ramp it up or slow it down? Of course we ramp it up, but we ramp it up physically and mentally too. I mentioned one of the things I mentioned on this other show I was talking about is the behavior changes in a couple of weeks before nationals, and this is something else that I got from Charlie. Just on a regular day, we're just there's music playing, a couple of jokes, whatever in between, not during the training, but like in between rounds or whatever, as you're just the atmosphere is relaxed. But in the weeks leading up, and this is for nationals. So when we getting ready for the Olympics and World Championships, there's no messing around in the gym. There's not even any music playing. There's no jokes. There's only talking about your competition and the goal at hand. We're not talking about what you're doing after training or before, or where you're coming from. We're focused on the task at hand. So the mental part of it is I think is the other thing that separates the best from the rest. Because when you go to international competitions, even the nationals, everyone's gonna be in shape. Everyone already knows what they think they have to do. So it's really who's gonna make that first mistake or who's not gonna make that first mistake.
Was Tyson Tyson said everyone's got to play until they get punched in the face?
They get punched in the face, exactly.
That's it.
I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and then boom, like whoop, okay. Survival mode.
All of a sudden, you ain't doing that no more.
Exactly.
Okay, so what do you do to keep them mentally tough then, other than cutting down distractions? What do you guys do to stay mentally tough in the run up to large competitions? We talking meditation, or are we talking what are we working with?
Oh yeah, all that stuff. The meditation, that's all a part of the process. They can do that stuff on their own too. But as far as my part, I'm just reminding them about the preparation. I'm reminding them about the accuracy of these punches of the offense and defense. That's the other thing too. Everyone always focuses on the offense. I like to believe I'm one of the not the only coach. I'm sure there's other coaches out there, but I don't know if there's any other coaches that focus on defense probably more as much as I do, because again, at the highest level, everyone's going to be in shape. Everyone's going to be trying to throw hard. It's all about who's going to make that first mistake or not make that first mistake. But you were asking about how to prepare mentally. I'm just reminding them about how hard they've been training. As far as the ones that have already had success, like Adam and Mary, when they already had their success before I started working with them. So I'm just reminding them that they're at this level for a reason, and their competition is the one that's worried about them. It's not the other way around. We're not worried about what I already know that they could perform. They've already performed at that level and won medals at that level. So I'm just reminding them that. But the new ones that are coming up, and that's good for the new ones that are coming up to see Adam and Mary, the success that they were having, and a male and a female winner that they could look up to. So and that helped the next generation of champions that ahead follow them. As far as the mental part, I could just tell them, look, if you keep working hard like you are like this, you'll be a champion like they are. Right.
Brilliant.
Just remind him.
We are coming up on the hour here, guys. So we're just about to sign off here. We are. I know time flies when we're having fun. Mike, did you have any closing comments or questions for Cedric while we still got him?
Cedric, again, thank you. It was great meeting you last week. I'm glad you've decided to jump on here over on the Talkin Fight with us and bring us your vast knowledge of boxing and training and competition. And hopefully we'll see you again. Guys who are watching around the world, Cedric will be joining us again Sunday for the symposium. Make sure you tune in for that. Also, tune in at 4 to see the Knuckle Up Knockout of the week. Definitely. I know we got a great weekend worth of fights, man. So I know there's gonna be some knockouts. I'm hoping my man Amari Jones comes through with a second victory and a very flashy one. He's definitely he's on the undercard of that Devin Haney Promotions card, so I'm gonna be watching for him. Cedric, again, thank you, man, for taking out the time to come and join us, man. Much appreciated.
I love this, man. I will come on every time. I'll come on anytime you guys want me to talk about fights.
Oh, don't threaten me with a good time. Don't threaten me with a good time, buddy. We'll get you back here for sure.
Definitely. And again, any of your young and hungry up and comers, man, you want me to profile? Just let me know. We'll get them on Knuckle Up, and that's it, man. That's the weekend. That's the show, man.
Perfect.
But again, Knuckle Up. Well, not even Knuckle Up fans. Talking Fight fans. Friday night panel, 7 o'clock. You know what we got to do now? We got to go to work and watch fights. So
let's do it.
That's it, man. I guess that's another wonderful Friday evening. Christian, thanks again.
Send us off, Mikey.
Yeah, man. I'll send us off. Guys, if you would like it, share it. Jab that like, click subscribe, knock us out those comments. You know we love them. You know we respond. Watch us next week. Friday night panel. Same time, same channel.